Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream. I hope you'll take me backlit. The view is rather nice. It's probably nicer than looking at me. And as we are here live in the glorious south of France, we just got the biggest, the first, the ultimate of all the trade deals out there. And of course, Trump is excited about it. The market is too. So I'm going to walk you through what that trade deal will actually do. And then I'll tell you how the Fed is hurting your portfolio, and why what they did and announced yesterday makes absolutely bugger all sense, goes against everything the rest of the world is doing, and why they're going to have to change course. And I also want to walk you through and highlight what I believe is the biggest investment opportunity of probably this generation. Actually, not just probably, definitely this generation. It's huge, it's bigly, and I'll break it down for you as well. We'll do a review of our popular stocks, our Palantirs, Teslas, AMDs, Nvidias, and so on. And of course, we'll round it off with a monstrous Q&A. So first of all, let me share my screen with you here. And I just want to make sure you guys can all hear and see me, okay? Because I'm on a travel setup. Just put a smiley or a one in the chat, and that way I know that you actually here and alive and awake, and smash the like button while we're at it. Sound is iffy, someone's saying. Sharon, somebody said the sound was great yesterday. Let me know, and I'll do my utmost about that. Let me share my screen with you here. This is the Donald's. Okay, I'm loving the monster. Brilliant, guys. This is his tweet from like 27 minutes ago. Literally, the agreement with the United Kingdom is a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom for many years to come. Because of our long time history and allegiance together, well, the Americans got away, but yes, it's a great honor to have the United Kingdom as our first announcement. Many other deals which are in serious stages of negotiation to follow. Now, why are we loving this? Are we just loving this because the Brits were the first to cave? The UK is basically a vassal state of the US. That's sort of been US government policy, I think, for many years. Walk down a high street in the US and UK rather, and try to find a business that doesn't funnel its money to the US. Pretty hard to find, but that's not really the point here. It's good. It means one of the big G7 economies, one of the largest economies in the world, has agreed to a deal with the US. We have to see what it looks like, but it just means that Trump doesn't just want to keep tariffs high forever because he wants to collect the revenue. He's actually open to freer trade, and that's of course wondrous for the stock market. Why? Because most companies on the stock market are somewhat making or selling stuff overseas. There's very little that's actually really US based. It also puts tremendous pressure on the apparatchiks in Brussels and the European Union because, well, if the one who got away, the Brits, got the trade deal, the UK is going to want to do something. And it'll also give us a nice template that we could then imagine other countries might follow. So the first deal is always the hardest. So kudos for getting that over the line. That's very big and positive news. We've been wanting a deal with America since Brexit. Yes. And it's funny that it's this present muppet of a prime minister. I think I can get arrested for that, can't I? In the UK, is the one to actually get it over the line. Quite surprising, really. But yes, definitely good news all around. War started in India. Well, there is a little bit of that skirmish thing going on in India and in Pakistan. But if you zoom out a little bit, that was happening for decades and decades and decades. So this is not as big a deal as mainstream media likes to make it. I'm not a fan of war, but hopefully they're going to, do something about that. They're both strong US allies, by the way. So the US has got a lot of leverage there to tell them, guys, keep a lid on it. So that's the first one here. Now, are you going to run out and buy stocks blindly? I hope not. I hope instead you come and join me on Saturday. And I want to walk you through, there is one sector. There is one bigger than AI, seriously. Kind of a result of AI, but bigger than AI, and I'm teasing you here. But not only will I say to you, okay, these are the stocks, these are the sectors to buy, but I'll actually teach you how I find it. I teach you how to select the stocks. So you don't just walk away with my 3 favorite stocks of the week, which I will of course give you, but with the actual systems and rules for when do we buy, when do we sell. So that's really my goal for Saturday. And I wasn't going to do one this week because I'm on, holiday. But then I kind of realized I'm really always on holiday, so it really doesn't make much difference. And I think the chance and the opportunity is now, not next week, not next month, not next year, but actually now. So I think it's a shame for you guys to miss out on it just because I feel like sitting in a beach club. And I tremendously enjoy teaching. So we'll do one. We've opened 1,000 seats for you. And all you're going to do is grab them. felixprehn.org/webinar. It's completely free. It's 11 a.m. New York time. Who's going to come in and join me and actually learn what the biggest opportunity in the world out there? And I also put the wrong banner up here, didn't I? Yeah, that's down below. The biggest opportunity, in my view, in the market right now that we've seen, I'd say probably since 1999. I think that was like the last big one. So one of those comes about every 25 years. So it's okay. You can miss it. I'll see you in 25 years. Links down below, felixprehn.org/webinar. Let me see if I can put that in the chat here as well. https felixprehn.org/webinar. I know for some people typing is a challenge. That should not prevent you from actually learning. So I'll pin it to the top of the chat as well, so you can get in there, right? So good news all around, right? So what's the market doing with this? Well, the market is saying we're liking it. Google, Meta, Nvidia are up. Amazon is up, particularly 1.5%. Makes sense. Kind of the guys who got hit the hardest. Google, by the way, dumping a lot yesterday. The thought might be that they might lose that Apple deal because it's anti-competitive. I think it's vastly oversold. I think it's a massive overreaction, if you ask me. It could be an opportunity. I haven't looked into it too much yet, but yeah, I think that's a ridiculous thing. So nice bounce off there for them today. Palantir also 1.6% up. Tesla is up 1.2% even, which seems just wrong, doesn't it? We kind of get used to Tesla going down. The fear is down 3% this morning, and it's sitting at 22.87. And the closer we get to 20, the healthier this market rally will be. Now, I'm not saying to you this rally is a straight line. I'm seriously concerned about the straight lineness of this rally. I think we're going to enjoy a nice bounce here, and we're making money right, left, and center, which is brilliant. But I'm very prepared for when this rally takes another break, and I believe it will. But we don't really quite know when yet. So let's then have a look at the Fed, right? The most venerable institution in the United States, which is now described by the president as too late Jerome Powell is a fool in capitals who doesn't have a clue. Other than that, I like him very much. Oil and energy is way down, which is true. Almost all costs, groceries and eggs are down. Virtually no inflation. Tariff money is pouring in. The exact opposite of too late, enjoy. And the funny thing is he's actually right. Why is he right? This is not a political statement, by the way. I'll agree and disagree with presidents as they come and go. But you look at what the world's doing. The Europeans cut interest rates. The Brits have cut interest rates. The Chinese have cut interest rates. Swiss National Bank has cut interest rates. Fed, right? They're like, no, we're going to wait. Why? I think it's weird, and I'll show you why it's very weird, and it's possibly politics. Now, this is a guy, if you want to follow interest rates, the only guy I really read, Nick Timiraos, who works for the Wall Street Journal. We shan't hold that against him too much, but he says he's known as the Fed whisperer. He seems to have some really good insights into the Fed. He probably has a bug in there or something. He said the Fed chair used some versions of the word wait 22 times at the press conference. Half of those were wait and see. And that's odd, really, isn't it? When you're a policymaker, you should really come out and say, we're going to cut rates if GDP drops another half point. We're going to cut rates if unemployment goes up significantly, right? We're just waiting and seeing. We're just like, we had a long meeting. We got a bit tired. We just didn't really agree or discuss anything particularly useful. So we got a few bottles of sherry out and got plastered. That seems to be what the Fed is saying. I'm not sure that's what they actually did, but it would be fun, wouldn't it? It'd be nice if they live streamed those meetings, but they don't. Now, this is what Andrew Bailey, who's the British head of the Bank of England, says. Inflationary pressures have continued to ease, he says. Let me get a highlighter here. So we've been able to cut rates again. Maybe have a green pen? Apparently not. And then he says the past few weeks have shown how unpredictable the global economy can be. That's why we need to stick to gradual and careful approach. So he's basically saying there's less inflation, Well, oil prices are super low, for example, right? That'll do the trick. And there is uncertainty around the economy, so therefore we're going to be a little proactive and we're going to cut just a bit. Why does that make sense? How long does it take for an interest rate cut to show up in the economy? I'm going to take a poll here. Anybody know how many months from cutting an interest rate does it show up in the real economy? So months from rate cut to impact on real economy. So I'm talking about, companies, economy, and to show up in GDP data. Any polls there? We've got 18, 6, 12 to 18. Anybody else? 12 months, 18 months, 6, 18, 18, 6, 6, 18, 18, 18, 12, 12, 12. Okay, I would say that 95% of you are have a better grasp of economics than Fed chair Powell. Yeah, so textbooks will generally say, I was taught 18 months, but I think 12 to 18 is probably a reasonable range here. So no, it doesn't take 3 or 6 months, it takes much, much longer. And one way of rethinking about that is, say I'm a company and I borrow money to build something, right? Or I've got a revolving credit facility. Most of the time, I've done that at a fixed interest rate. So for me to get a benefit of lower interest rates, I have to finish that contract, go back to the bank and renegotiate. Mortgages are fixed in the US now a lot of the time for 10, 20, 30 years, which is just abhorrent to pay interest for 30 years, but that's a whole nother story. Same with car loans and so on. So for there to be an actual significant impact will take, a year and a half. Now on the stock market, the reaction is like that. In fact, for the stock market, the expectation is what moves it. So it actually moves before then. So let's move swiftly on here. Rabobank Bank, which is actually a pretty good outfit for research, they call the Fed clueless. I don't think that's a reference to that 90s movie. No, it's actually clueless. They're saying uncertainty about the economic outlook has increased and the risk of higher unemployment and higher inflation have risen. And they basically told us nothing and dodged questions about Trump. So funny one, really. And let me ask you a question here. This is a serious question. I'm going to make this as big as possible on the chart here. I've got 2 lines on here. I've got one in green. Hang on. So in green, we have, let me write in green. In green, we have the US interest rate. And in that sort of odd shade of purple, we have US inflation. Okay. Can you see where the last rate cuts were? Can anybody see it? Can you see it? Let me grab a yellow pen. That's a bit more obvious. This is where they last cut interest rates, which was in, July last year, right? And then again here in September. So do you want to move the Felix bubble, bottom right? Okay, thanks very much for that, Scott. Appreciate the suggestion. If you look at inflation where it was then, it was here, right? What has inflation done since? Has it gone up or has it gone down? Serious question. It's gone down. So why is the Fed now saying that they're not in a position to cut interest rates when in July and September they were? There's an obvious, the accusation is that it's political. Now the funny thing is that Jerome Powell is a card-carrying Republican. He's a member of the Republican Party. So, bit of a weird one. But yes, does it make sense? Makes absolutely no sense. Inflation is lower. Why the heck wouldn't you cut interest rates? It just makes no sense whatsoever. You think it's tariffs. Okay, but the Fed has acknowledged that tariffs do not cause inflation, which is true. They cause a potential one-time spike in prices, but it then disappears 12 months later. It's a one-time effect. It's not a continuous effect, unless you kept doubling tariffs. So they already said that doesn't really have any impact. So it doesn't really make much sense, right? Bank of England disagrees with it. Bank of Switzerland disagrees with it. The European Central Bank disagrees with it. They've all cut rates, right? They're all saying inflation is easing, but the US isn't. So you can only think that there's a sort of a bit of a clash of personalities, which is kind of odd, really, here. What was the take from them here? They're saying, what are they saying? We've penciled in one final cut on June 18, they think. They think we're going to get one cut in June. and the final cut could come later in July or September. And then they think we're going to go back to a pause. Every single cut is going to be tremendously important for what's going on there in your portfolio. Seriously, you get two cuts, you're probably up 7-8%. It's pretty important for everybody out there. Right? Does that make some sense to you? If that makes some sense to you, let me know down below. Put an S in the chat in terms of sense. And I put up a video yesterday on robotics and AI infrastructure, but I think there's a real opportunity there. And this is just some out from Morgan Stanley, and they're saying that $3 trillion will be spent on AI infrastructure in the next 3 years. So that's like $1 trillion a year, right? Pretty significant. Not just pretty significant, it's insanely significant. And thanks for all the S's there. Glad that's landing for you guys. Sense. And this is the biggest single sector investment we've ever seen and likely will ever see for quite some time. So the question is, are you taking advantage of it? Yeah, okay, Nvidia will benefit, Tesla will benefit, true, but there are other players that I think will benefit a lot more. And I want to walk you through some of that, and I want to teach you how you can find them, because it'll change. It won't always be the same ones for the next years. And if you actually know those systems and rules, then you will know. And I watched an interview yesterday of the BlackRock chap. And he was asked, how do you spot opportunities? And I paraphrased, and he said something like, well, we look at the chart and you see one little deviation and you think, somebody probably knows something. And then you see 2 deviations and then you know there is an opportunity. And that's basically what we do. So we look for those little clues that are left in the chart. And are they hard to find? Nope. Is it difficult to learn? Nope. Do most people know it? Nope. Who knows it? Wall Street. Yeah. The banks teach it. The hedge funds teach it. They teach it to their employees. Why? Because they want them to make money for them, right? Lots of it. They can go on a beautiful yacht, which is something we're doing next week. So if you want to learn that and be part of what I literally think is the biggest opportunity in the last 25 years, then come and join me on Saturday, 11 a.m. New York time. Link is over here, felixprehn.org/webinar. It's also pinned to this top of the chat. I'll put it in here again for you as well. Think, yes, the think. You sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger mixed with Christopher Walken. Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? I'm German. I moved to the UK when I was about 16 or something, 15 or 16, which is where I learned English, and hence the weird little accent. So, but yes, both great actors. Is Arnie a great actor? He is actually, isn't he? He's very entertaining. He's a very funny guy. So come and join me, felixprehn.org/webinar. Who's going to join me? Put a W in the chat if you're going to join me. And shall we have a look at some of the market here? So VIX is still down very nicely, almost 3%. The NASDAQ, the Qs are up a glorious 1.2 percentage points here, which is pretty much the closing high of the 2nd of May. Walken is great. Walken is great, actually, yes. He's a good one. Okay, let's see lots of W's there for you guys who are joining me. Brilliant. I look forward to seeing you guys, and I look forward to having some fun with you on SAT. Now, what about some of our favorite stocks there? What about Google that got absolutely clobbered to death yesterday with that nasty candle there? Massive overreaction? Yeah, I probably think so. But it's been clobbered for quite a while. All this thing down is it's mostly concerns around AI taking its cheesecake. And will it? Yeah, somewhat. I use Grok a lot more for search now than I use Google. But, I mean, Google Ads is where the money is at. So they have to really lose some significant market share there. So I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be great. I think AI is going to expand the market rather than take it. And Google is already putting the Gemini AI into their search results, which makes a lot of sense. So I think this is a little overdone, but we'll see. We'll see on that one. Your stop loss kicked in. Well, it's a good feeling, isn't it? After a while, I think it becomes a good feeling. What about the push to divest Google off Chrome? Yeah, I don't know. Google is done. I doubt it, to be honest with you. I also doubt that they'll actually divest them of it. I think normally these things just drag on for 5 or 10 years. You pay a fine, you move on. That's usually what happens to big tech, right? They try to do this to Microsoft and they try to split them up, and that never happens. So it's pretty unusual. Your sound's a bit muffled, is it? That's weird, my friend. I thought it was good yesterday. Hang on, I could. No, I think that's probably as good as it gets. If a few of you are saying that, then I'll try to put the mic somewhere else, put a stand up or something. When ChatGPT and Grok start utilizing ads, it'll be over for Google. Well, not necessarily over, because they do have a little thing called Gemini, which is also popping up on every Android phone in the world. So they have a pretty good moat there. Google or Gook makes very little difference. The A shares and D shares, I don't know if it has some difference in voting rights or something. I think Google A, I think it's got more volume. So I normally go for the Google rather than the Gook. But see, this is the sort of thing we could ask Grok for, right? So we can go into Grok, and this is what I love about AI. What is the difference between Gook and Google? It's amazing. And imagine this. Both tickers, A shares carry 1 vote and C have no voting rights. Okay. Right. So yeah, doesn't really matter much. But I imagine A probably has more volume. So there we go. Sounds fine. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Gemini is okay. Grok isn't. Grok's brilliant, my friend. So is that a political statement because of your German flag, perhaps? Right, so there we are. Should we look at a couple of our favorite stocks out here? Maybe some of our tech ones. Here's Palantir, which is recovering nicely at 112 here, which is up 1.56%, which is perhaps the rebound that we're looking for. What about something like our fintech friends here? SoFi is making out with a 150-day moving average line. That's quite important. You want to close above that. So sort of a 1350 close or something would be good. Even better if we got into the $14 there. What about Hood? Grok is the one. There's space for lots of LLMs, but Grok is pretty good for day-to-day stuff. Hood looks very good here. Look at that. It's breaking out above the 3 highs here, right? You see that? If we close above those 3 50-day moving average lines, moving up, volume's decent, I think then we could be going somewhere here, be going places. Anything else? What about PayPal? PayPal, that's continuing its gradual painful march through broken glass to get back up to sort of a buyable level, which I suppose might kick in at about $72 maybe, if you're a bit more conservative, around 78. Much better audio, because it seems to make a difference if I move it up a little bit. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's one of these little magic devices here. They're actually very, very cool. I just got the latest version of it. Rode makes them, and this last one here seems to have eliminated the crackling sound. And all you need to travel with is like this little thing. There are 2 of those boxes, and that's it. It's really, really incredible in terms of technology. Saves you lugging around a big mic. So what else have we got? Meta. Oh yeah, Meta. I was looking at that today. Whoops, what happened here? Meta. Let me share my screen with you guys. There we go. So Meta is recovering very nicely, breaking above the. You see that? Let me draw a little line for you. Just connect the last 3 days highs sort of across. That here is that line there, and let's make that funkier color. Maybe yeah. So we see where we gapped above that. We close above that, and we're back in business, I would say, on Meta. So that's a nice one. What else you got here? MSTR. I'm getting more and more bullish on crypto, honestly. I read a note to you guys in my coaching community last week, and I was talking about that. I'm getting very, very bullish on the next crypto cycle here. And I think MSTR I think it's a smart play on it. It's obviously a high risk play, but I think it's a smart one. And for those of you guys who've learned a little bit from me before, what are you seeing, right? You're seeing this kind of zigzag pattern here, right? And if you connect those highs, approximately, okay, I did a little bit of a shoddy drawing there, you get the idea. We've broken out of that quite nicely, and we're now taking out these highs here. There are a couple of more over there. You take those up high, and you know, you're going to go back to all-time highs, potentially. That's the way what I'm looking at here. So yeah, I'm feeling very bullish on that. What else? Love the birds chirping. Oh, you can hear that. Okay, lovely. That's nice. Yeah, that's one of the lovely things here is you wake up in the morning and they start chirping around 6 a.m. and then you just open the window and you see blue sky and the sea and you're just like, wow, this is actually very, very nice. South of France in the summer is pretty good, pretty hard to beat. The rest of the year is fucking miserable. So I did a year and a bit in Monaco not too long ago, and I thought maybe that'd be a nice place to live. No, it's a nice place to visit. I would say I think it's a nice place to live. So AMD, NVIDIA, yeah, an AMD video coming out later today as well. A little bit of a giveaway here. What I'm talking about at the moment, I would say don't buy the bloody thing. And instead learn the rules. NVIDIA here, similar story, improving, still not where I would buy it. I think semiconductors are still a little bit in the doghouse. Here are the socks. And yeah, we got a lot of room back to go back to these levels here. So no, not really. Immigrant boat birds. I've not ID'd the birds. No, I think they're quite French. Although actually they probably did fly across from Africa. It's true, yes. Immigrant birds. Celsius here, bouncing off the 50-day moving average line here. I got stopped out of my Celsius position, but it bounced off pretty well off the 50 here. So that's actually a strong sign, and that could be the second entry point after the, you know, the last breakout, wherever that was. So yeah, Celsius looking good. What else have we got? They sound very pleasant. They are very pleasant. Kind of a nice sort of, you know, polite birds. Mealy, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's trading at $2,475 on earnings. Not too shabby, is it? So congrats to everybody who's a Mealy shareholder. It looks very good. Very, very, very good. So very happy with that. And this is going to be, as it develops, an inverse, bear with me for a second, head and shoulders. So upside down, right? Upside down, you're turning me. Shoulder, head, shoulder, boom. Right? So shoulder, head. Imagine you're hanging upside down, right? Like a bat, the other shoulder. And then what really matters is you want to draw a line to connect one armpit with the other. And when you cross that, as we've just done, you usually go kaboom. It's one of the most powerful chart patterns we have. I'm not saying you should therefore run out and buy it, but I'm saying it looks very good. What do you think about gold? Like it, it's shiny. I actually just stopped because there's a new gold shop here. They have 1,000 gram gold bars just lying there in the window, which shows you how safe a place Monaco is. But yeah, gold is doing nicely. Gold is sort of gonna, you know, when the market has a great day, gold tends to go down a little bit. When the market has a bad day, it goes down a little bit. A sort of inverse relationship there, but I'm liking where it's at. I'm liking that low here, and we're buying gold and gold related stocks. What else we got here? ACHR. Okay, let's have a look at some of those sort of defensive plays. Yeah, not seeing a lot really. Bit boring, isn't it? You kind of would like it to, I wanted to exceed these previous highs here. It's going to break out of that zone after the drawn in there, and then you're going to get a bit more bullish. But at the moment, I'm not seeing a lot of activity there. Gold is intoxicating to see it is, isn't it? I like stroking it. I like stroking it. I'm talking to it. More bells. I didn't bring the bell, but the market is indeed open, so you're going to have to do with a ding ding. I have a monstrously large bell now. I didn't really want to travel with that. What about hymns? Yeah, hymns. The markets are open. That looks very good again still, doesn't it? Still looking very, very good. Volume is holding up quite nicely here post earnings, so that looks very, very good. Now, one thing people always draw are cups and handles, right? I never really go for that, but I think this might become one of those. Typically these things do. You don't go up in a straight line. Usually a silver bug. Yeah, I think silver is also in a good space at the moment. My personal opinion here, and it's doing all right. It needs a little bit more oomph to fathom a breakout. It hasn't quite done that yet. MP material earnings today. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Oxy, not a lot going on there with oil prices where they are at, which is really low. It's going to be hard for these guys. So let me show you what our oil price is doing. Whoops, futures. There we go. Crude oil is at $62. WTI is at $59, so below 60. So somehow Donald has whispered into the ears of King Saud of the Saudis and managed him to just open up the taps and pump. And he's doing that, and he's keeping oil prices very low. And it's going to lower inflation. It's going to make it easier for economies to grow. It's good for the stock market. Overall, we're quite happy with the chap, really. Yeah, we just looked at the Mercado Libre gap. That's a very, very nice one. Silver is the new gold. Yeah, I'm not sure that that's true, but I know people have been saying that for a long time. I thought the silver price was manipulated by JP Morgan, which is perhaps why it never moves all that much. But I'm sure that's just an unfounded rumor, not something that they got convicted for, is it? Actually, they did get convicted for that. But yeah, so I'm sure they're never going to do that sort of thing again. Mohammed bin Salman, yeah, that's the one, right? Oklo, interesting. Oklo, almost a bit early, I'd say. I'd say it's a bit early. Come and join me on Saturday. You'll understand exactly why. Vern says, appreciate your fine instruction. If you mean by that sort of teaching, then yes, there might be a translation issue. I don't give you instructions. Just to be very clear on that. I don't tell you what to do. You have to figure that out on your own. I'll tell you what the rules are. Sell puts, yeah, that's always a good thing to do. Not always, but if the IV is nice and high, it isn't on Oklo. What else we got here? UTI. Interesting. That's on your list too, hey? Yeah, this is doing quite nicely, isn't it? Very, very nicely. So this is a classic textbook, the sort of thing that makes Winston, run around for joy. Because what did we do? We really took the zigzagging thing here to another level. It was really just, this is precisely what I live for. And then what did we do? Well, sort of connect these highs here, or you could do it that way. We break out of it, and boom, do we break out of it, right? So yeah, that'll be a nice winner for the week. What do we anticipate in the deal today? Well, it really depends on, to be honest with you, full US-UK trade impact, boost for Starmer, yay. We all love Starmer, don't we? Yeah, kind of hard to know what's inside it and how broad this really is. I mean, the UK is not a massive exporter of like manufacturing goods and stuff like that. They kind of lost all that. It's basically a service economy, providing financial services and so on. So they obviously want access to the US, and I'm sure they import a lot of stuff from the US. I mean, the US owns a lot of the UK economy. So, sense isn't that hard a deal, but it just sets a precedent that's important. I think more than this particular deal with this one country, it's just that it sets a precedent. You can do deals, you can do deals quickly, and we'll have a template now for other deals. So the European Union, I'm sure, is, having a tough morning and going, damn, those bloody Brits, you should never let them get away. And it makes it more likely that there'll be a deal there too. So, because then people are not going to want to get left out, right? The US is the biggest consumer in the world. So I think it's a good step. It's a very good step, and it's quick. So we just have to see what it's all about. I mean, it might be a memorandum of understanding, right? And that the real details will be thrashed out later. Remember, Trump is very, very good at announcing things that are not exactly quite baked yet, fully baked yet. So I wouldn't necessarily expect them to go and sign on the dotted line by Friday, but it could be that they've sort of fledged out the big stuff, and that will also be good. What else we got in here? Proves my theory that the GB is the 51st state. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The UK wouldn't exist without the Yanks. It really wouldn't exist anymore. In my view, it's been US policy since the end of World War II to make sure that the British Empire is finished and that the UK is contained. And I think they've done it brilliantly from a US perspective. I mean, it starts with, look at the history for the Suez Canal, which is the canal that runs through sort of Egypt into the Red Sea, which was a British thing, right? The Brits controlled it, the Egyptians took it over, and the Brits wanted to go to war with Egypt on it and thought the Americans would support them, and they said no. And there are many instances like that where they just tried to curtail very successfully British influence. And it's gone to the extreme that pretty much all major UK companies are now American-owned. And therefore, they send all their profits to the US, right? So again, they don't stay in the UK. So it's, I think, a very, very intentional policy over about 70 years to make sure that the US is the next British Empire. And they have achieved that. It's very successful. Not good for the Brits, but very successful for the Americans. So, invest in the US, then invest in the UK. That would be my thoughts on that one. Palantir is pumping. That's good to see. Well, I wouldn't call that pumping, but it's up 3.8%. Yeah, so that's nice. So hopefully that was then the low here at $105. Actually, funnily enough, that's precisely when institutions started buying again. How do I know that? Because we have support in here, SOP 105. So I think that's pretty much exactly at that point, right? So where we're going to hit our head at 120. So way back to 120. Meta breakout, yep, that one too. Aiva. Yeah, that one's been a nice one as well for us, hasn't it? That's been one of the better performers this last week from my picks here, which again, textbook, right? Textbook. So we just draw a line here and boom, and now we're up, very nicely. UK wishes there was Singapore, what with the deadly tax rate. Yeah, it doesn't really work, does it? Well, the UK is 3 countries, isn't it? It's the City of London, there's London, and then there's the rest of the UK. And the City of London's got a fairly sweet setup. London is a bit of a disaster, and then the rest of the country is, if you look at the wealth gap, it really is very shocking how little that's improved. When I got my first job in the UK 20 years ago or something, as a lawyer, and I got paid £30,000, which was about the average salary. This is a trainee, right? First salary. It's not like the Americans who really pay you at the beginning. You get paid nothing as a lawyer. And if you go back now, like, what's the average salary in the UK? It's 20 years later, it's still pretty much the same, still pretty much 30K. So the UK is getting impoverished compared to, places like the US. And it's just failed policy, just terrible government, and probably a grand plan somewhere. I'm from the Singapore. The weather is super hot and humid. Yes, and you get that all year round, don't you? But it is quite pleasant. Maybe not quite as, you probably wouldn't be working with the window open like I am here, but it's here it's actually very glorious. I'm very lucky. Impossible to find a job in London at the moment. Trying to find work while I'm off uni. My friend, go online. Seriously, just look for jobs online. Your employer does not need to be British based. It's silly. I employ a couple of UK guys, and they're great. They're amazing. And our company is not British. So stop looking locally, my friend. It's not where the money is at. It's not where the growth's at. Look online. That's really the place to go. Is Felix in France again? Yeah, he is guilty as charged. What do you think of guerrilla technology? I don't know what that is, but it sounds like monkey business. Shocking, that's why I'm here, indeed. Don't go to London, do not throw away your life. It's a bit harsh there from the Germans, but you see, the Germans are subjected to a lot of propaganda that once you leave the European Union, you are basically, your life is over and it's been absolutely miserable. So London is, from that point of view, completely fine. The problem is, I'd say, immigration and lack of policing. I think that's probably the number one problem London has. Other than that, it's a lovely place. Masons, you get a third more in the US. Yeah, and the gap is massive, obviously, in a lot of industries, for sure. What do you think about Nike rebound plays? Well, first of all, I never buy something because it's cheap. That really is a rule. I was working on my book last week, and that was definitely one of the things we're gonna put in there is some good rules so people can remember. So this is too early, my friend. This is far too early for this rebound. And think about it. Nike makes all their trainers wear, I don't know, Vietnam, China, something like that. And all those countries have been hit with 100% tariffs. So it's a problem. It's a real problem. And they had a big problem before that, before the tariffs, which was overstock, you know, a brand that was maybe not quite as fresh as it once was. And there's just not the right models, not the cool trainers and sneakers people actually wanted. So the problem there is very significant. Paul says, German hater. Yes, Paul. You do realize I'm German, right? It's just a different point of view, but I know that's difficult for Germans to get to. See, the German mind is one of, there is right and there is wrong, and the Germans are usually right. So everybody who disagrees is wrong. It's a very odd philosophy of not really encouraging much discourse. Now, Paul is going to be one of my good friends there, but it doesn't mean we can't be friends, you see. We could disagree and be friends. That's the real strength. Like, I've got friends who are practically communists, and we're very good friends. I laugh at them, they laugh at me, and we have a good time. So be open-minded, that's what I'd say, and stop reading German media, because that's just like complete propaganda. Now, anything else we've got here? ZS. Is that still independent? Hang on. Yeah. Sorry, I was mixing up something up in my mind there. Well, that was a nice breakout, wasn't it? If you know what I'm looking at, can you see what I'm looking at here? That here was the buy point there at 28th April. Very nice one. Very nice one. Yeah. So good luck with that one. German media made me rich. Well, good for you, my friend. Good for you. Robert says, Felix, thanks for your rules. Made $4,500 in 2 days. AMD sidestepping and now waiting for chart volume improvement. This rally may not be sustained. I agree. Good for you, Robert. Though my rules would not suggest buying AMD, but whatever you do, my friend, stops are your friends. Scott Soda saying, do you have a fixed amount of money you put into stocks? Yes and no. So my entry is always a percentage of portfolio size. I think that's very important. There isn't a right or wrong answer on that, but you definitely want to have a rule for that. And then I have periods where I am more careful and have periods where I'm more gung-ho because everything's going up and everything is wonderful. So at the moment, I'm more careful. So my setups are smaller. I also don't necessarily put everything into the setup, into the investment in one go. So I buy more once it hits the next level where it has more strength. So that gives you a little bit of a range of answers there, doesn't it? But initially, I'd start with a small percentage and stick to that, because the most dangerous thing people do is they say, oh, I love this stock, I'm going all in, 50% of your money or something, and then that's inevitably the stock that's going to drop 70%. So you want to spread your investments somewhat. Stops are a game changer. They really are, aren't they? How's the VIX doing? VIX is down 3 percentage points as I'm looking at it here. It's at 23, which is pretty good. It was a little lower. We were at 22.30. So we are yet to drop below the May 2nd low here, which is what we really want to happen. But it's definitely looking pretty positive. Big step in the right direction. Bigly step in the right direction. Edward says, how much money should I put into an account to trade options credit spreads? If you ask me that question and you're new to it, first of all, I'd say zero. Use a paper trading account. Do that for 6 months. Trade every week. And once you've gone through that, put in a very small amount and start with a very small amount. Let's see, do a $100 trade and you'll learn a lot from it. And it'll teach you the things you don't know. Because options, my friend, there are layers to that onion, and I recommend you get yourself a tutor, a mentor. Now, I think we're here. I think we're there. Loving all your questions, guys. Cool. So come and do one thing. Join me on Saturday. And I'll teach you about what I believe is the biggest opportunity in the stock market in literally 25 years. And I'm not going to just give you one stock name or something like that, because that wouldn't be very useful. But I'll also teach you how I find them, where you buy them, when you buy them, and when we sell them. So you come away with like a rule book that you could apply to this opportunity and any other. And that will hopefully deliver you tremendous value so that you can find amazing opportunities every single day. And we looked at a couple here just, right? And you can see there is always something. And I make my money 99% of the time with stocks that people have never heard of. So knowing how to spot those opportunities is really where the money is at. But yeah, huge opportunity right now in the market. I think that most people are going to miss. So don't miss it. Come and join me on Saturday, felixprehn.org/webinar is the link. I'll put it in the chat. It's also down below in the description. At least I hope it is. In fact, I should probably check that it is. Can I do that? There we go. Yeah, it isn't. Okay, I'll put it in there as well. So I'll do that right now. And I wish you a beautiful day. And I wish you a glorious rest of the week. And I hope to see you live.